Morning YouTube, it's Sunday, just gone lunchtime, so afternoon really I suppose. I got a little parcel in the post yesterday. This has come from Paul Clannachan, and it's a hand fire drill kit. He gave me some helpful pointers on doing bow drill fire, and I watched and commented and congratulated him on managing to do a hand drill fire on one of his videos late last year, and asked him what wood he used, and he said very kindly that he'd send me a set down. So I'm going to open this in a minute. I'm going to put the kettle on, make a cup of coffee, and then I'm going to sit down and open this whilst that's boiling. I've got some of the old Poundland nail polish remover to try. I'll give it a little fire up yesterday, and I was amazed at how well it burnt and how easy it was to light, so I'm going to give that a go. Again, it's time to pour some water on the homemade billy. And see how it goes. It's in lovely bushcraft pink. Disappearing. A square more. That's away. Just wait for that to bloom and stick the kettle on. Camera keeps coming up with the face recognition square for the dots, so the holes must look like eyes to it, and the smiley mouth. There it goes, just about to start blooming. I love it when it does that. Never done one of these before. Oh, Scott from Wessex Blades now. I probably have a big axe out doing this. Don't forget to black out your address. There's a note. it says sorry it's late. He contacted me, or promised me it just before Christmas, so it's not late at all really. It's when it was ready to be ready to send it really. It's kind of him to do it. It says here you go and hope you enjoy it. Looking forward to seeing your first ember. I put in a bow drill set as well. I think it's willow and sycamore. Oh, that's nice. Hand drill is elderberry and ivy, and the hand drill with the metal cap on it is to help with your floating hands. It helped me a lot, and if all else fails, use the matches, mate. Lol. I can't quite make out that bit. Put the wet something in as wet needle in as well. This is what I am learning. Thought we could learn together. Hope you enjoy it and have as much fun as I have and still do. All the very best. Stay safe, Paul. Thank you, Paul, very much. Right, we'll have a look at what we've got now then, because it's obviously a lot more than I was expecting. Likes Pringles. Right, this says bow drill kit. Wow. Bearing blocks. And a hearth set. There's another one already burnt in. It's much more natural than the bits and pieces that I use for my bow drill fires, because I made them up and planed them up all nice and square and round. One drill, two drills, all nicely shaped, and another bearing block, and another, and also a collector. Aha. There's some it's one of a fungus. It's a bit of fat wood. I've still not found any fat wood yet myself, because as I said the other day in the video, there's no pines up there. So we've got a lot of bulrush. I bought some bulrushes home once from a walk around the lakes years ago, and we didn't realise what happened to them once you left them in a pot in the house for a while, and it wasn't, my mum wasn't well pleased. Here's some, this is charred punkwood by the looks of things. Or as King Alfred cakes. Again, that's something I never knew about until watching all the videos on YouTube. It's going around all over the place now. So they'll all come in very handy. As I was talking to Pete the other day, after the attempts that he'd made at lighting a fire with punkwood and not been successful, I suddenly remembered, and much to my shame, that I'd never actually managed to make a fire with naturally sourced tinder. I'd made got the spark, got the coal going, but not actually used the next sizes up myself, so and been successful. So I am next time we're going to both try it together. Ah, that's what he meant. It's a net needle. I've seen someone do this on the internet, and my old man and my granddad both could make nets, but I could never get the hang of it. So now, Paul, I'm going to look again and I'm going to do some practice and like you say, learn with you. Oh, it's terrific, and you've made this yourself as well, I'm sure. That's fantastic. So this is the ivy. That's a thick piece. Ivy again. Some more ivy. So bloody hell, these are thick pieces of ivy for the hearth. Another collector coal on. Some more hearth blocks. Can hear the kettle starting to whiz. Now this must be maybe it's a Christmas. Oh no, I know what this is. That's the matches. I was going to say it's a Christmas candle. That's the matches in a little birch bark container. That's fantastic. Lovely. Funnily enough, I was just watching something the other day about the one match fire challenge, and I was going to buy some Swan Vestas and try that next time we went up the woods. I don't need to now, I've got it here. Brilliant, Paul. That is fantastic. Crikey. It's not just one. And there's a drill as well, made with a bit of flint, knapped and then bonded on and tied on. So I've got myself a drill, possibly for making starting them off. Wicked. That's an art, flint knapping. I know Paul's getting into doing the primitive fishing. He was making fishing hooks out of little blackthorn thorns, and like this he's used pine pitch glue to stick that on, and that's something to do, he said, about practicing. So I imagine it's to get me it's like a training drill, that one, to build up my strength, because apparently he practiced quite regular before he actually managed to do it. And there's a guy in America, he tore his hands to pieces trying to do it and didn't succeed, and he was doing it for ages. I can't remember his name. I think he has managed to do it since, but Mike Roberts, I think it was. And we had a little discussion about, in the old days when people did it, their hands were much more scaly and used to hard manual labour than they are now, and so it wasn't so much of an issue for them to start doing something like that because they were already worn into it. But this is fantastic, Paul. It really is. I'm going to make me tea, my coffee, because the kettle's boiling now. I'll have a cup of tea and then I'll get back to you and I'll have my first attempt. Don't expect miracles. I very much doubt there will be a miracle. There is a bit of soot on this. I cleaned it off because I'd used it the other day on a little army stove with the hexi block stove, and when I tried it yesterday there was a lot of soot on it already, but so it does build up some soot still, this nail varnish remover, but it's not too bad. It's no worse than being on a fire. It burns nice enough, boiled up the billy, no worries. Right, I'll get back to you after I have my coffee. Cheers, Paul. I don't know what else to say, mate. This is wonderful. I'm going to have some fun with this. Terrific. Right, I've had a cup of coffee and I'm going to have a little go now. I know what they say about being, preparing to fail, but I'm not expecting anything at all out of this. I've picked out the hand drill stick and hearth that are obviously the most used, so burnt in. So even if I just manage a tiny amount of smoke or even some dust, I think it'll probably be an achievement for the first time, because it is quite a hard technique to master, I believe, but like everything else it's worth it, I suppose, in the end, because it's another feather to your cap. So we'll just give it a little go. So I put the giant size plate on top. It's a bit of a different position to sit in. Oh, there's a lot of friction there. That's what he did in the video. Just lightly spit on the old hands. Don't think it'll make much difference. Maybe if I put a bit of wax on the bottom. Oh, it is getting hot. Definitely getting hot, and there's a tiny amount of dust. Well, I think the director would yell cut there. But now I've produced a tiny amount of dust, and it is very dark, which is a good sign. And that's why I really asked him about what wood he used for him, because this is maple. This is a maple hearth, he said. I know, big part is ivy and elderberry. So I'm going to give this a go and try and practice religiously for a little while each day, build up the technique. And Cuckoo Pete wants to have a go at this as well. And what I did think, and I said to Paul about, was once I've mastered it, I would pass on the set to someone else who would like to have a go. So we'd never done it before, so we spread out the knowledge all around the community, which I think is quite a nice thing to do. And Paul's gone to a great deal of trouble to put all these sets together for me, and I'm extremely grateful. And he was quite happy for me to do that too. I mean, he's made a nice matchbox now. I've got a nice handmade matchbox, and the needle for the net needle. I'm going to give that a go as well, and because I know I won't be going fishing with it, because although I'm by the sea, but there aren't any rivers around here that you can really go fishing in, but nets are handy for carrying stuff around. Maybe even make yourself a little hammock chair, something like that. It's a bit ambitious maybe to start with, but who knows, it's not that difficult to make a hammock chair. So once you learn how to make the nets, then that's something else I've got that I can make. And like I say, once I've mastered this, it'll go up on YouTube, and then I start looking for someone else who'd like to have a go, who's never tried it before, and pass on the set to them as well. But most of all, I'd like to say thank you to Paul for being so kind and sending all this down. I'm knocked out. It's all stuff he's made, which is terrific. I love to see that, and I shall be sending him a PM in a minute, and editing this together, and hopefully the internet's working at a proper speed again, because it took hours to do the last two videos that I uploaded, part 1 and part 2, at my day out up there. And in the future I should be lighting the barbecue not just with a bow drill, but with a hand drill as well. It'll impress the neighbours, because they always laugh at me with my little foibles, like using wood instead of charcoal and stuff, and the ferro rod instead of matches. But that's for another day. Once again, thank you very much, Paul. I really appreciate this. It's nice that you've taken the time and trouble to prepare all this, get it all together and send down to me. I'm really knocked out. Thank you very much. See you all soon, YouTube. Of course, there's one other thing I forgot to try, and that is the bow drill. So I've gone and got my bow, and I'm going to use the set that Paul's obviously used before and burnt in, and we'll just get ourselves a colt, if I can still do it. Use a bit of sweat off your head to lubricate the top. Already got smoke. Actually smoking. I think the wind's put it out. I didn't think maple would be very good for it, because I thought it would be too hard, but obviously not. This bow's a bit, I think the string's a bit too long. Try and tension it up a bit. Lots of smoke. Yep. We're not even breathing heavy. I think the wind's doing all the work. Oh, the wind's doing all the work. Oh yes, it is. Zoom in on that. Where's it gone? Cool. It's still going. Yep, it's going away like a good one. Once again, Paul, you're a winner. How do you do it? Once you've got the coal, you don't need to rush things to get it all into the tinder bundle, into your bird's nest, and let it build up a nice big red lump of coal. All the powder will burn, it'll burn its way through itself, but it lasts an awful long time. Just burn away by itself quite merrily. Bingo. Thank you, Paul, once again, and I've got a lot to be getting on with there. They're all skills that are going to come in handy, and I'll see you all again soon, YouTube. Cheerio.